have the economy they have, which is completely created by selling goods and services to the American citizens, they would not have the resources that you would have to spend your time and money to try to counteract.
The society has grown greatly. That was a matter of design for the international community, but unanticipated was the aggression and the buildup that followed.
So your life would be better if no American bought any Chinese product or used any service, and no American dollar went to communist China.
I'll say that China's inability to pump resources into its national defense enterprise, which is bolstered by its trade position, is a direct corollary to the success of their business model.
So would you recommend American citizens stop buying Chinese products and stop using Chinese services?
I'd recommend that we build greater resilience and that we beat them on market principles.
So if they didn't have the economy they have, which is completely created by selling.
The problem is that in this scenario, to use your metaphor, the US has the bigger gun. And so China ends up having more to lose from this trade war, doesn't it? You know, it can't sustain the loss of 15% of its export market, i.e. what you export to the US.
Not at all. China is fully prepared to fight to the very end because the world is big enough that the United States is not the totality of the market in the world. So if the United States wants to go in that direction of completely shutting itself out of the China market, be my guest.
Yeah, and China will lose the US market, which, as I've said, is 15%.
We don't care. We don't care. China has been here for 5,000 years. Most of the time, there was no United States, and we survived. And if the United States wants to bully China, we will deal with the situation without the United States. And we expect to survive for another 5,000 years.
The problem is that in this scenario...
Shalom, Yasha Allah. First and foremost, I would like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakha Chadash, and double honors to the beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth, and peace and salutations to all you hopeful elect came out there laboring that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. So, Lakia, this is your brother Amar from the GMS Sports Idaho camp, and I just wanted to come at you with this lesson on an update on what's going on with the trade wars and tariffs, and what our government is saying and what these different Chinese spokespeople are saying. As you see the two videos that I sent, one was on a news article website that I follow, and there's another one that was just going into another podcast on a news station. I don't believe it was in Babylon, but you know, it was somewhere else. But the point is that it's showing you that really, at the end of the day, this is all just charades for the public, I guess, because we understand that all these nations are working together to cause a collapse, and that's the main thing that we need to understand, in the fact that they're all working together, and stopping buying and selling within different parts of the world and isolating it here and there that's all just a boogeyman that Esau created to blame. You know, because he needs someone to blame. The American people, they need an enemy to go after. And the government, the elite, the people that run this world. Because you can't be no dummy, man. You got to really understand what you're looking at and dissect what the news is telling you, what the scriptures say, what the truth and what the doctrine is, and make sure that everything matches up. Because we understand, like I said, at the end of the day, it's Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai's will for prophecy to be fulfilled in Esau's world is not going to be split between another, you know, Moab. Moab has been poor for the longest, man, you know, in the sense that, you know, they've always had different problems with other countries, man. Japan, small country as Japan, during World War II ran through China, man. So again, the point is that this video is showing you that they're saying that it doesn't matter if they stop selling, because that's only 15% of their revenue, which we understand that, hey man, most things that bought and sold are from China. You know, everything for the most part in Babylon is imported from other countries. You know, so this is just another way to put a more strain on the average everyday person, because the elites, the government officials, the different corporations, they're just going to be able to, you know, move a shipment and buy somewhere else and have it shipped from here to there, but we understand that all wars, and the point that I wanted to bring is that all wars start on economic wars. And there's been a couple updates, and that China has increased the tariffs to 145% from 84%. But that was 17 hours ago. I wanted to go on Google while I was doing this lesson to show you. So I just wanted to throw this information to you to show you that ultimately Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai has a judgment for Moab as well, man. These fucking different Moabites that come over to Babylon and set up different shops and sell all types of abominations to Jake, because they know that that's where their market is, and they're not selling it to their people, so they don't feel bad. Whatever it is, whether it's a ghetto ass clothing store or a fucking smoke shop with all the fucking shit that you can buy for anything that you need for street related activities, man. Usually it's heathen that own those stores, man. I remember when I lived in Portland, that was about 90% of them, man. And if Jake ran the store, who he was paying rent to? Motherfucking heathen. So I wanted to get to these scriptures because ultimately there is going to be a downfall for Moab as well, alongside with Esau, Edom. But they're going to be, in the outward side looking in, China, Russia, Iran are going to be the main enemies of Babylon the Great, here. And the different other allied European Edomite run nations, not European, Edomite run nations, that choose to ally with Babylon. There's going to be nukes flying everywhere. But this is going to be going into that. And not to mention when Yahweh Shai cracks the clouds with the chariots, man, it's going to be war on all out levels on all nations that are fighting against Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. But this is Jeremiah 48 and 36. Therefore mine heart shall sound. Oh, Salakia. I actually wanted to read this in my scriptures. This is Jeremiah 48 and 36. Therefore mine heart shall sound for Moab like pipes. Like, hey man, I want that's what they want. It's like, that's my target. And mine heart shall sound like pipes for the men of Kir Heres, if I'm pronouncing that right, because the riches that he hath gotten are perished. Because, hey man, y'all see how the Moab living over there in Beijing, in Hong Kong, man, they got future cities over there. Robots doing their laundry, their women in order, their kids in order. Yeah, they're polluted, but man, they're living good over there if you got a good social credit score. But continuing, verse 37, for every head shall be bald and every beard clipped, which is a representation of mourning, someone going through it in anguish. Upon all the hands shall be cuttings, and upon the loins sackcloth, which is again showing a sign of great mournings. And the cuttings, hey, Jake wasn't doing that, but the cuttings is something that these heathens would go into, because they would actually cut themselves, man. Whether Jake would just shave his hair, he would shave he would pluck out his hair, whatever, shave his beard or whatever it is, man. It was pretty rough. But we wouldn't cut ourselves, man. We wouldn't cut into our flesh. But these heathen nations, they all cut into the flesh to sacrifice to their God. And you could read that in the First Kings chapter 18, and it goes into Elijah when he was mocking the prophets of Baal. But continuing, this is verse 38, Jeremiah 48 and 38. There shall be lamentation generally upon all the housetops of Moab. These fucking chinky winkies, man. These so-called Chinese. And in the streets thereof. For I have broken Moab like a vessel, wherein is no pleasure, saith the Lord. Man, saith the Lord Yahweh, man. Because these heathens are disgusting, man. Man, I'd be sending these nasty ass Moabite videos to the brothers of them eating all types of abominations, putting live shrimp in the pot, eating little eyeballs and little butthole goobies, and fucking damn, bro. Moab's disgusting, man. Like a vessel of no pleasure, saltless ass people, man. I can't even think of one thing that I like out of fucking Moab, man. Now, I don't even like Asian food. Honestly, bro. I don't like Asian food. I never have, never will. Even when I was a kid, they're like, what food do you like? I was like, anything but Asian food, man. But that's just me, because fucking nothing looks like what it tastes. But hey, back to the point is that, hey, man, these heathen are disgusting, man. And they're broken like a vessel, man. When you break a glass or you would break a pottery type vessel, it shatters into, hundreds, thousands of pieces, man. You no way putting that back. So that's the point of it, showing him have been broken, Moab like a vessel, because that's that shattering. No way, there's no coming back from that. Verse 39, they shall howl, saying, how is it broken down? How hath Moab turned the back with shame? So shall Moab be a derision, which is confusion, and a dismaying to all them about him. Because they're going to be like, oh shit, well, Moab was talking big shit with his navy, with all his technology. Now what, man? One little EMP, Esau show you what shit he really got waiting in the cuts for some of these motherfucking countries to act a fool, showing you that the sword is really his blessing. Man, so guess what? At the end of the day, all these nations are going to get their ass whipped by Yahweh Shai, but Esau's the sword, and there's not going to be another nation to step up and win, because these other nations are going to think twice before hitting that button, before hitting that send that nuke button. But Esau is a madman, man. He'll say, fuck it. If I can't have it, ain't nobody have it. He'll push that button, and these other nations know it, man. That's why Esau is, like the scriptures say, if time was not shortened, there'd be no flesh be saved. So because Esau would kill himself, all creation. If he could, he cracked this whole earth in half. But the Lord, obviously, he's not going to give him that power, because the Lord's not going to destroy his creation like that. Only Esau, the only nation that has the thought to kill all these other nations, to do genocides on every fucking people that they come across, that because they're fucked, man, if you come across Esau. Because if you see this devil, he wants to kill you, steal, rape, take everything he can from you. And the history has proven that. But continuing, Jeremiah 48 and 40. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, he shall fly as an eagle, and shall spread his wings over Moab. What's that? Those chariots coming, man. The giant chariot ships, the legion of angels. Verse 41, Kirioth is taken, and the strongholds are surprised. I'm guessing, through the Spirit speaking as a man, I need to do more research, but that's probably a capital city in the country of Moab. And the mighty men's hearts in Moab at that day shall be as the heart of a woman in her pangs. I'm going to read that again. Keroth is taken, and the strongholds are surprised. And the mighty men's hearts in Moab at that day shall be as the heart of a woman in her pangs. Hey man, that's that scripture referring to, these mighty men shall scream like travailing woman, like a woman travailing in the 9th month, roughly paraphrasing. I know that's a reference in multiple parts in the scriptures to show you how in pain and anguish and, in torment, in grief, in mourning that these people are going to be, man. Worldwide, Moab, talking about them specifically because they are a major key player in these last days, especially in the World War III and the economic war that's taking place right now. Verse 42, and Moab shall be destroyed from being a people, because you aren't going to be destroyed like we're going to take out all the Moabites, but destroyed from being a people is, hey man, y'all going to be servants. Y'all going to have no banner or nation or big red star or big red flag with a little star in it to say that this is your people. No, fuck that. You're a captive under the nation of Israel, and you are owned under the nation of Israel's flag. If there's be a flag or bandana or not to disrespect that, but in the sense that you're a property of us. What if you're gonna be having a title of your name? It's gonna be the servant of the whatever family owns you. Like it says, Moab will be my washpot, man. Fucking Moab out there, fucking proud with his little fucking 4-foot ass, fucking walking with his hands behind his ass, no salt, fucking wearing some dirty ass fucking jacket with some fucking fucked up hair, with a weird ass walk, with this woman walking in front of him, all types of bullshit, man. These fucking heathen are not fit for rulership. And that's why it's so vexing being in this world and seeing all these proud ass heathen, and Moab coming over here and him seeing the social status of white man is on top, brown is kind of in the middle, but you're pretty much a nigga too, and black people are down below. So he is going to treat you just like Esau does, man. And it's a proven fact that, and I've worked for fucking Moab before too. And they're fucking assholes, man. And they look to hire Mexicans because they know that they like to work hard and they think that they can fucking work them and talk to them and disrespect them and fucking do all this shit. And man, sometimes more worse than Esau, man. You know? So fuck Moab. And that's why I call Allah Yahweh Shemi Hashem. It's a special judgment for your proud ass talking about, we're gonna be here for another 5,000 years. We're gonna be here for another 5,000 years. Shut your fucking slanted-eyed ass up, man. That's why Moab is stupid, man. They're fucking little fucking. Anyways, man, this is Jeremiah 48 and 46. Woe be unto thee, O Moab. The people of Chemosh perisheth, for thy sons are taken captives, and thy daughters captives. Verse 47. Yet will I bring again the captivity of Moab in the latter days, saith the Lord, because that's what we're going through right now, man, under this heathen as well. Thus far is the judgment of Moab, because, hey, man, we're not completely out the grips of Moab, but the Lord is going to bring him to our captivity again in the last days, because under King David, man, we had all these nations in subjection, man. And we took all their sons and their daughters captives, man, to be slaves and whatever purpose we see fit to have with our slaves, man. You know, because this is the type of rulership that we're going to have on these heathen, man. A rod of iron, a hard, stiff rulership, man. And if they don't want to get down, they're going to get laid down, man. And because that's the type of righteousness that needs to be put in this world and on this earth, and pushed out the wickedness that these heathens have been pushing for so long. You know, so again, man, this is just another update. I wanted to go real quick and to look at the breaking news tariff update. So there's a couple news ones. It says China strikes back with 125. So that was 17 hours ago. CNBC. You know, this is all educational, you know, for entertainment purposes only. China strikes back with 125% tariffs on U.S. goods as trade war intensifies. So again, man, you think then that was all in a day? You don't think that is talking about hyperinflation? It went from 84% to 125%. If that ain't hyperinflation, I don't know what is, man. Really, because what else has the elders and apostles been talking about coming, man? There's gonna be, you know, shortages of everything. You know, there'll be no work for Egypt. I believe it's, you know, we read that at the sit down the other day. It's Isaiah 19 and 15, I believe. Isaiah 19 and 15. Yep, this is Isaiah 19 and 15. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. So again, man, that's going into the top of the bottom of the CEO, the janitor. You know, there's going to be no work because, for one, there's going to be no material coming in. You know, a lot of these construction job sites would require very strict ordering times of materials. And if there's a shortage out of nowhere, hey, man, that whole job gets in a standstill, because you cannot pass one inspection and move on to the next without passing a certain phase of the construction. And you can't have buildings exposed for too long either without covering them up with certain materials, which, you know, when I was building with a home owner, there was actually problems with that during the C19er, you know, which they said was from China. So again, man, you know, to expect things but to get hit, but worse, because the first one was a practice. They've already destroyed a lot of the factories, the warehouses, and the surplus shipping yards that were just sitting there of excess that we had here in the States. They just miraculously and or not miraculously, spontaneously combusted, you know, and all burnt down. So this is all, again, the plan to ultimately cause chaos, to bring in, again, I have to mention this every lesson, that this collapse must come for the ushering in of the MOTB system, Jacob's trouble, and for this kingdom to fall, for ours to come. So Lord willing, that this lesson was edifying unto the elect. Till next time, I'd like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Chachadash, and double honors to the beloved elders and the apostles, that great millstone that taught me this truth, and peace and salutations to all you hopeful elect Akim out there laboring, that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. Till next time, Lord willing.